Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Emily.
And my name is Andrew.
Today we're going to talk about
Things.
and stuff.
We
That's the
I think
order.
we've spent so much time talking about things and stuff and stuff and things. I think we're running out of stuff and things.
I like stuffing things like
Squirrels?
turkey.
Oh, that's not okay.
We're not too far from Thanksgiving.
We aren't too far for Thanksgiving, but very
It's
important
only 2
though.
months.
There's Halloween first. And I'm an
Spooky. Oh, yes. Oh, I
Halloween
have
is
big
great.
Halloween news.
Are you playing like a Halloween show or something?
Yeah, my
Whoa.
band Sunday Crush is opening for Taco Cat at Numo's on Halloween.
That sounds like a recipe for a good time.
Yes, if you're in Seattle, come out and see us. My band's gonna be wearing some sort of costume theme. Uh, I think I talked about this last week actually. The Mulgoths idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so I don't know. It's that might be still one of the things, but yeah,
Very cool.
that yes, that felt organic. Yes,
Well, that's
sorry, you were
super
talking about
rad.
Halloween.
Oh, I mean, I just happen to have a birthday relatively close to Halloween.
When's your birthday?
It's just a few days before Halloween. So
Okay.
growing up, I always had it was always really cool because like my cousin was born literally on Christmas, and
Oh, jeez.
sucker, they got
Sucks.
right. It was Christmas in the morning and her birthday in the evening. But the thing with that is, you get the same number of presents.
That is very true, but if you have a Halloween birthday, then all you have are awesome birthday parties.
I get awesome. I had themed birthday parties growing up. And then you get presents, and then you get candy. In that,
Yes.
or like that is, I argue, and there's no
You
talking me
get
off this
cake
ledge.
and candy. Like, I mean, you're getting both of your favorite things as a child.
Candy corn cake.
Yuck. Oh, too far.
I like
Take it
candy
back.
corn.
Take it back.
I like all things Halloween.
I like the pumpkin spice in baked goods.
Yeah, I still haven't had any pumpkin spice this year, but
I haven't either. I should get on that.
yeah, it's a long story. Um,
Okay.
a story
I
for another
believe you.
time. So I'm trying to think here. So Halloween is one of my favorite holidays by default, and I argue is the best holiday to have a birthday around.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I can't imagine a better one.
Yeah, I'm gonna be let's see, I'm gonna be 25 this year.
Oh, you're a baby.
Yep, I'm but a wee child.
Yes. Ugh, Lord. So weird.
A full quarter of a century.
A full quarter of it's a big one. It's a big one. You get to rent a car for a little cheaper
You know, the
now.
funny thing is we're going on vacation for a wedding, like 2 weeks before my birthday, and I'm not going to be able to drive the rental
Ugh.
car unless we want to pay a lot more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I forget how much more it
shout out
is.
to Melissa in advance for driving me around. That
Yep.
makes her
That's very nice.
default DD for the wedding.
Yeah, that sucks for
Well,
her.
that said, it's a dry wedding, so it kind of sucks for everybody. But also,
Oh, that sucks for everybody.
I don't know.
Are you gonna bring a little something something?
I don't think I'm going to. I'm really good friends. Like, we are really good friends with the bride and the groom. Have done them for forever, and no, I think I'd like to respect that. They're actually choosing this intentionally, not because they're anti-drinking, but because there's a history of alcoholism in the family. It's just better for that to not be floating around all of the members who are
Uh,
recovering. And I thought that was actually really
mhm.
neat that they're going and taking that step. So I want to support that.
Okay.
So yeah, but after the wedding, yeah, it's a different ball game.
Yeah. True. Um. Yeah. So. To kind of change topics. Actually, maybe not change topics. What are you drinking?
So I decided to abandon what was left of my self-esteem, and I saw a bottle of whiskey at the grocery store the other day, and I
Mm?
couldn't say no. I had to. I I knew in my head that this is gonna be absolute crap whiskey, but I had to try it
Why did you have to try it?
because it is Pabst Blue Ribbon whiskey.
Oh, that just makes me sad.
I am so intrigued, and I'm still, like, wrapping my brain around it because it's so strange because they didn't age it, so it's clear. So it's like if
Huh.
whiskey and gin had, like, an ugly stepchild. It's
Ugh.
like it's very strange, and it's whiskey, but it's also not vodka or gin or tequila. It's really strange.
Is it moonshine?
It's kind Yeah, I mean, I've been calling it moonshine the last few days. That's pretty much what it is. But it's marketed as
So it's
whiskey.
it's just it's just it's just unaged whiskey.
Pretty much.
That's all it is.
Yeah. So
Has not been aged in oak barrels. So I mean that's I feel like I've tasted that at like a distillery tour.
right.
Yeah, that will I don't know who drinks that on purpose, but sure,
Well,
it's
I'm
cool.
having a Kentucky mule, if you can call it that, since it's not aged.
You either call it that or I guess I've heard Montana Mule also.
Oh, I've also yeah, I like Kentucky though, because bourbon. But I guess that if this isn't
Yeah.
bourbon, you can't call it a Kentucky mule. So,
I don't think there's really I don't know. I think that if you care about that, then it's just how do you have so how does someone have the energy to care about that?
according to Google,
I'm okay. Don't worry
PBR
about me.
was established in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So we're gonna call this a
Yes.
Wisconsin mule, and, I'll wait for the Scotties to chew me out for that.
Ew.
Whatever it is,
Gosh.
honestly, it's
Don't make me call Louise on you on your ass.
No, you go ahead, please. Yeah. No, honestly, this is actually a pretty decent cocktail, and I'm kind of shocked it goes this well. I tried drinking it straight and then on the rocks, and neither neat or on the rocks were all that pleasant. So I'm moving into cocktail
Yeah.
territory.
That makes
We'll see
sense.
where this goes.
Yeah.
It's a
All right.
culinary adventure
Mm.
fueled by
Yeah.
pseudo hipster tendencies.
Well, to quote the greatest movie of all time, not all experiences are good, Bianca.
Was that the Titanic?
That was 10 things I hate about you.
Don't tell me that it ends.
Okay. Are you talking about the Titanic still?
Hmm.
Oh, gosh. Men just don't listen to me today. I have not had a man listen to me today.
Well, let's talk about it.
Mm, okay.
Hmm.
I'm just a little grumpy, a little sleep deprived. I am. Oh, this is going so well. But you know what would make me happier and really improve my mood
Sweet.
was if you, dear listener, would take a moment and rate and review this podcast. Give us 5 stars. Say something nice to us. Uh, we might read it on a podcast episode, and you would have our eternal gratitude. It really actually does help us in the ratings. We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to your guitar themed podcast listening. Thank you for listening to Get Offset.
Indeed. And also feel free to like make it a 5-star review, but then absolutely shred me, specifically me. Like just
Yes.
like roast me, but as long as you leave a 5-star review, it's great.
Andrew, one of my favorite things is when the podcast review only mentions one of us.
As if I don't exist.
No, there's one, like, I think one of the more recent ones, it's all Andrew love.
What?
Did you
I
see it? You didn't see it?
I'm wondering if my wife left. I know my Melissa was reading through some of the reviews before we could go.
You know she would have mentioned me. All right.
She probably would
Ugh,
have said you're better than me.
yes. Um, I can't get the reviews to load.
I'm trying to get here we go. Podcast.apple.com.
Yes. Oh, there's one. Yep. Open. Da, 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 da. Oh, wow. I'm sorry. Don't read these.
Andrew is a bad host. Emily should find a different co-host.
Oh my god, that was such a mean 2-star review from Christian the Lion. Ouch. Oh, he loves you like Christians love like lions love Christians.
It's okay, I can take it.
Ow. I'm so sorry. Well, there's one here, go down to the one from August 16th. First off, I must say that this podcast is great. If it were a test, I'd give it an A++. However, it's just a podcast, so 5 stars is all you can get. It's creative and clever. Andrew, you're my hero. Keep up the good work, and I love you. By
Who left
hashtag bless, hashtag guitar, hashtag drum solo.
wait, 8/16. That might have no, that was a Monday. I
Mhm.
feel like Melissa read them on a different day.
I'm so I can't believe someone left such a mean review, Andrew. I'm sad.
You know, I normally I look at that and I say this is a great opportunity to learn, but there's nothing constructive.
No.
I want constructive. Tell me, like,
Yeah.
really tell me how you feel. Like, how bad am I? Why am
Christian
I
the
bad?
Lion, will you please like
I'm not even mad. I'm just entertained at this point.
just tell me why? This is somebody
Tell
who
me
wants
why.
ain't nothing but a mistake.
Tell me why.
I never wanna hear you say these words make no sense. Terrible lyrics. Um,
It's really bad. But
oh, that's so
Backstreet Boys is
sad.
better than NSYNC.
Yeah,
So
I would agree with that.
that just seems like pretty cut and dry thing for me.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you aren't that person who left that pretty mean 2-star review on iTunes, and you do enjoy this podcast, and you are familiar with the Patreon, we have one of those.
We do.
Andrew, do you want to talk about it? Because I think you're a good host.
um, it's probably because I cry a lot in the podcast. Maybe maybe it's the surfer voice, man.
Oh God, I think it is.
I think you just need to chill, man, and support us on Patreon.
Okay, I'm gonna keep calling it Patreon. And you're gonna keep calling it Patreon.
I don't know what to call it. I really don't. Maybe that's why I'm a bad co-host.
I
See
think
that?
like when you patronize somebody, you're like talking down to them.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So Patreon's like,
You're a patron.
is it bad that I've always called like what you just described patronizing though, not patronizing?
Well, I mean, I a good friend once told me that you should never judge somebody when they mispronounce a word because it means that they read that word and they haven't heard it out loud.
Hmm, that's fair.
Yes.
It's kind of like how I thought sinusoid was pronounced sinusoid for the longest
Ah,
time.
well, you only read
And
it.
then I was like, but it's so sinful. Like, does that mean it's sinfully good? Like, I was
Oh
so
God,
confused.
that would be a terrible name. Yeah.
Well, I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it is quite good.
So Patreon, do you want to talk about it? What it is, what it
Uh,
means, how it do?
what it is, what it isn't. Um, yeah. So Patreon,
Patreon.
Patron.
This is why we got the 2-star reviews.
I can't stay on topic. Patron tequila. So Patreon is how you can support the show. If you don't give us 2-star reviews and you actually like the show, I do recommend supporting us. If you do give us 2-star reviews, I also recommend supporting us so we can afford a better host because I'm free. Sort of. So yeah, so you can contribute. We right now our goals are $1, $5, $10, and $25. $25 gets you a song written by the one and only Emily, the only good host of this podcast.
Ah.
And
Yeah, I'll write you a song. I'll write you a
yeah.
song about the 2-star that reviewed that you left my little buddy.
That would be amazing.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got 3 patrons right now. Those are the 3 coolest cats on the planet as far as I'm concerned. But seriously, no, every dollar counts. Even if you like $1 per month, you won't even notice that out of your checking account.
But we'll
But we
notice it when I'm paying the bills of the things that because this podcast, podcasts are not actually free to start. They do cost a little bit of money. Not a lot, and I'm not complaining. But if you want
no,
to
no, we've
like
been
help
happy to do
support
it.
us, yeah. If you wanna support us and become an actual part of the show, we'd really appreciate you.
Not that we don't, but
We'd appreciate you in a different
anyways,
way.
so to take this a step further, we've got these 4 goals up. However, we're really curious to see what you guys want to see. So shoot us some suggestions on what you want to see as goals on the Patreon.
Well,
Um,
it's not really goals or like donation levels. I think like the perks is what you're trying to
yeah, yeah,
say.
yeah. Yeah, what perks do you want to see?
Yes. Do you want to be on an episode of the podcast? Let us know. Do you want
That is
to
yep.
uh be part of a secret society for other like-minded individuals? Maybe we can figure something out, you know?
Or unlike-minded individuals where we can all argue,
If you want some
but like in
drugs,
really respectful manners.
you didn't hear
Did
me.
he just say I heard you and I'm covering my ears. I
Sometimes
didn't hear
it's
that.
good when men just ignore you all the time. Am I right, ladies? Because you're the only ones listening. Yeah. Okay. That was yes.
Further proof that Andrew is the worst podcast host this decade has seen.
Mm-hmm. 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 So, I kind of want to talk about just let's spend a quick minute talking about something that's kind of new for me and the podcast, and that is
Yeah,
the gear demo channel that has become Get Offset. So I've
it
been doing
has.
yeah, gosh, and one of those videos has 2,500 views, which I know is small potatoes for YouTube, but kind of a big deal for us. So if you're on YouTube, if you like watching guitar pedals make noises and then watch my fingers turn the knobs of those pedals, um, check us out. I have a couple videos already up there, a few more scheduled out. Really excited about the response that it's had so far. So thanks everybody for watching. And if you want us to, if there's any pedals you'd like to see us review that you might think one of us has or could get access to, let me know. If you would like your creation to be featured in a video, let me know. We have a contact form on the website, or you could, I guess, message us on Instagram like everybody else does, which seems to be the preferred method of communication, which is fine.
Whatever works.
Yes.
Something I'd like to say about communication in regards to the demos is I so I'm the kind of person that likes to keep my phone notifications down to a minimum. But one of the things that I've got notifications on for is my email across all the accounts I manage and for the different projects I'm involved in. And I've got to say, uh, I have been both like really pleasantly like excited with, but also like make it stop with the number of subs that we're getting.
No, don't make it stop. Andrew, shut your mouth.
No, 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 I'm not saying make it stop. What I'm saying is like, I'm completely blown away by all the support that we're getting on the YouTube channel.
Hmm.
It's blowing my mind. It's also blowing up my phone, and I love it.
Yes.
So,
I'll show you how to automatically filter those into a folder, or we can change
I mean,
the
I know how to. I haven't done it yet because
yeah.
not that I wasn't expecting this to happen, but this is definitely at a scale that I'm like,
Mhm,
whoa,
mhm.
this is awesome.
But have you ever worked in one of those offices where every time someone like a sale is made for the company, a little ding goes off?
Ding. No, I
Oh
haven't
god, I have. I've
actually.
been in those offices for interviews and I was like, "I don't wanna work here." I
That sounds not exciting.
no. I don't I'm sure it, started with very, very pure thoughts, but I don't wanna be working next to a computer just going ding, 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 ding. No, it's awful. It's awful. Alright, but that's all I have to say about
So
that.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas is a little bit ago. Ping. So or oh, better yet, I'll just get one of those for hosting the podcast, so I can be not just the worst podcast host of this podcast, but of all podcasts. Because then I'll just be obnoxious, go ding, ding every time I have an idea.
Oh god. I am, which is often. Yeah, if you get I was about to say if you get me that, I'm getting your kid a drum set.
Please, please. Oh my goodness, yes. I really want to actually.
Okay, I'll get your child some other toy that makes noises, loud ones. You can't take out the battery or turn it off.
I'm gonna open it up and you'll have epoxied it in
Exactly.
like it's a colon or something.
It goes forever. All right. Neat. So do we want to get into the topics or sponsors? Jennings has news.
Jennings has news. Jennings does have
Jennings has
news. All right,
news.
guys. So, ladies and gentlemen, Chad Jennings has done something incredible that I've been waiting to happen, and I could not be more stoked about this announcement. Chad is doing basses,
Bass guitars,
bass guitars,
short scales,
and I'm
and a longer scale, which I assume is an average
and he's
scale.
he- and he's doing a Voyager version, so it's the offset version. So he's
Oh,
doing offset
really
basses.
neat.
I want one so bad.
You already got
I've
one
actually been in need of.
coming.
Yeah, I know I've got the guitar coming. Now I want to buy like a second Jennings,
Yes. Y'all Jennings
and
out.
it'll be
Yeah.
rad. But seriously, no, that's actually a little fun fact about Chad. He told us about is that the first guitar he ever made was a bass guitar. So I see this like from my perspective, like, yo, dude, that's super rad. You're like going back to your roots. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a fan of
That's
that.
nice.
So I'm really stoked for Chad that they're able to get that together, and I'm very excited to start seeing pictures of those out in the wild making music.
Yeah. That'd be neat. Cool. So
So yeah,
yes. So tonight's topic was your idea, Andrew. So I guess I'll let you kick it off. Actually,
kick it
yeah.
off.
So yeah.
So here's what we've got. We got a couple of different topics to go over for tonight, and the first one being is rumor mills.
Oh, hot goss.
Hot
Those
gossip.
those
Come and
those
get it while
those
it's
juicy
hot.
deets. As we always said in college, juicy deets. Do the kids say that still?
Um,
Oh.
no. I know.
So what
We're
have the rumors been though, Andrew?
so there's a thing that happened a couple of days ago,
Friday.
and
The Friday.
it was Friday because I saw a notification about it late because I was just getting off work and I was working late on Friday. Which, side note, super sad because that meant I couldn't make it to the Covet show.
Mhm.
Um, so I'll have to catch the next time they're in town. Anyways, so I saw this. I'm like, what the heck? And the rumor. So Gibson had deleted all of their videos on
Or they
YouTube.
unlisted them, made them private or something.
Something happened with all of Gibson's videos on
Yeah.
YouTube, and I'm refreshing the page right now, and this channel has no videos. 132K subscribers, no videos. That goes for Gibson
Yeah.
Guitar, and that goes for Gibson Entertainment Channel, which has 52.6. The rest of the Gibson family, so Epiphone has theirs up still. Their Stanton DJ still has them. KRK has
Yeah.
them up. Those are all under the Gibson
Mhm.
family, and yeah,
Yeah, so that's weird.
s- super
We don't
strange.
know if this
And
mystery, whatever it is, will be solved by the time this episode drops. It will. Who knows?
we don't know, but I'm kind of excited because I'm glad to see. I'm nervous and I'm excited, but my first gut reaction to that is like, oh, that means Gibson's doing like something really radical here, and I'm kind of excited to see where they're
Yeah,
gonna
like
go with
some sort
this
of big
because
rebrand, which would be, or some new video format, or some major change that would behoove them to clear their channel. Or maybe they just want to stir up some mystery for something else that is not even something that we would think.
right, and part of why I'm so excited for that is I haven't made it a secret exactly that I haven't been super satisfied, thrilled, stoked with how the product of Gibson and the culture of Gibson the pre within this last decade. But I'm super stoked to see the change in leadership that we've seen in the last year, and I'm kind of watching with eager eyes, and I'm rooting for Gibson because Gibson is, in my opinion, is a legacy brand that deserves to be taken care of really well, and to see new stewardship means there's a possibility for new life. And so seeing something like this, I'm like, oh, this is super rad. All of that said, not everybody saw it that way, and people took it as an opportunity to start spreading rumors really fast, and I was really thrown by that.
Yeah, because
And
they were
I
pretty
I thought it was something.
extreme rumors with no. Gosh, it was just so floating so far away and so non-specific.
Yeah, so the rumor going around is that Gibson had fired Mark Agnesi, which was like, What? That's
They
okay." Well,
just
and so I
hired
started checking, like,
him.
right, he just moved to Tennessee, bought a house with his family. Like, he's been doing some cool stuff, and there's been a couple of weird things that have come up since he started the company, but by no means are any of them, I think, fireable. And so I was really thrown off. And then so people are speculating that maybe like they fired Mark but forgot to change the password, so he went and deleted
Oh,
everything.
that
But
doesn't like
um,
that wouldn't
that's
happen
like
with with if it,
why?
okay. Mark wouldn't be someone who'd be doing that. Someone who would be doing that is like a really pissed off, low level digital media manager at some ex company, and
Right.
they would get sued for it. So would not be
Oh
the
yeah, and
best way
so
to peace out.
no, 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 that'd be a good way to end your career involvement within the industry for
Yes,
forever.
any
I
industry.
think, and
That's
maybe
insane. Bad idea.
right.
Don't do
So
that.
and so I was just kind of thrown by this rumor, and so I started pushing some buttons and asking people like, "Okay, so what's your source? What's your source?" And they was like, "Oh, well, I heard it from this person. They're the kind of person that would know." And I was really disheartened to hear that. I'm like, "Okay, that's really cool to see that there's a lot of folks that trust their media outlets in the industry." But
What media
I was
outlets?
all, oh,
I'm
am
sorry.
I feeling
Yeah.
gutsy
I
enough to
don't
start?
okay. I don't know. I heard someone said that someone on some channel said that they got an email from someone at Gibson while they were doing a live stream or something like that. That's but I don't remember the name.
Yeah, I don't remember the name. I saw a couple of YouTubers dropped it. I saw a few folks on Instagram drop it, and I I rather than just calling out names, I think there's just a whole bunch of people started spreading it just like
Mm.
wildfire. I was like, "What the heck?" And no one had a source, and so I'm not telling the story to berate everybody, and but more of a as a community before we go and potentially damage someone's reputation. Um, let's I think we can all do better, say, hey, what's your source on that? That's a pretty big deal because we didn't see any official media coming from Gibson or any of
Mhm.
its affiliates,
Or yeah.
and no one with an official press release. Like that's yeah, that would have been a really big deal. And I all of that said, I think Mark handled it really well. He put up an Instagram post. He uh, addressed nasty rumors. The worst of which is that he doesn't like offsets, and I could not be happier than to say that Mark Agnesi himself does like offsets, and we are also fans of offsets. Therefore, we should be
Yes.
friends. That's my takeaway from the whole thing.
Yes. We apparently like everybody who likes offsets.
Most everybody. I don't know. I've met Mark before. He seems like a really stand up guy, and I would have been really bummed to see that he
Mhm.
got let go from Gibson, and I'm very stoked to hear that he is not. That the rumors are indeed false, and I'm looking forward to seeing what gets
Well, I
done
will
with these
say, Andrew,
YouTube
he didn't
channels.
say where he was employed.
That is true, but I think it
Mm.
was well implied. I don't know. Did I cover that
No,
pretty
I
well? Is
don't
there
think there's
anything to
anything
add
to
to
add
that?
to that. I think just like understanding that um weird things happen, and I don't know, just be careful about rumors, guys. Guys and gals and yells and yins. Like be really careful about them. Ask for sources. Um and I don't know. I guess also maybe don't get like super duper worked up about things that don't involve you is also I think generally good advice. I know people were getting pretty worked up about Mark Ignasi. Uh and yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it. I saw it briefly on Friday. I thought, "Huh, well, maybe that'll get confirmed," and it didn't, and now I haven't thought about it since Andrew mentioned it. Just earlier.
No, it
No.
got me a little riled up, and have I was in contact with some folks who were part of the Gibson family, and
We're not
uh,
naming our sources.
it just literally
Name
like,
your sources.
well,
See how much it sucks to
uh
name your
huh.
sources? Harry, stop being a bitch. Come here.
Well, my official source now is that Mark himself said
Yes.
he wasn't fired. Um, But I was trying to poke around and like no, everybody's like, what? What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
No, I like there yeah.
I don't
I
know.
just I'm not gonna name names either, but yeah. So I don't know. Rumors are weird. I think generally pretty weird, and I know that it's interesting. It's news to to see them. But yeah, just I think just the big thing is like having a healthy amount of skepticism about rumors before they're confirmed by anybody is important. Just not getting too worked up about them until there's really evidence of things happening. Because I think that the grapevine is the worst part of the rumor mill when the only thing that could possibly be conveyed is somebody said something. It's not like somebody saw someone get escorted out of a building, or somebody saw an email really, or anything like that. So it was just so out there and not specific. That yeah, just yeah, there's nothing else I can say about it, but be careful about rumors because they can hurt people if they get caught up too much. Carrie, you want to say hi? No,
Hi, Carrie.
she hates it. She hates it so much. Kirsten unhinged. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about, so as if that wasn't already pushing controversy just a little bit to be like, hey guys, let's be adults. To push into controversy a little bit, we're gonna go somewhere and we're gonna step on some toes here in a second,
Yes.
probably. Do you want to kick this topic
No,
off, or
I don't want to kick it off. And I'll be honest with you why, because I know that you have a passion for the original brand named in this here topic. But yeah, I will say it's something that we've gotten into before with Brian from Spruce Effects. I'll put a link to that episode in the show notes. It was a fun conversation, but we talked about a little bit about basically circuit board theft or copying other people's circuits, which is of course legal. It's been determined. Um, but there's always question of um, Andrew, do you know that Reddit subthreaded am I the asshole?
I don't,
Okay.
but I also
Well,
don't
it's a
Reddit.
segment where people
So
say, like, they give a story of something they did, and then they ask, like, the people, "Am I an asshole because I did this?" And and one thing that argument that comes up in that group a lot is this Reddit isn't called "Is it legal?" It's called "Am I the asshole?" So the question there isn't is it legal? It's does are you a bad person because you did this or was doing this bad?
right, right. And so where do we? Okay, so we're
I
gonna
guess
jump
we're
into this then.
going feet
So
like head first. Was that a
I'm
little bit
just gonna
more
go for
like
it.
than you?
And
Okay, was that good, or was it too much?
no, no, I think that was good, and I'll fully admit I've got a lot of thoughts that aren't fully formed on this yet, and so I want this to be more of a conversation and not a I'm not coming to this
As
guns
a
blazing.
preacher
I'm coming to
man,
this like I don't know if I feel
yeah,
comfortable with this. Um, so long story short, there's this legendary pedal that was in production in the 90s, called the Love Tone Big Cheese. And if you've been paying enough attention to what's been going on in the gear industry the last week, you're probably nodding your head right now going, oh boy, here we go. Oh boy, here we go. We're just going to throw it out there. So the Love Tone Big Cheese was made in the 90s. I'm actually currently trying to pull up eBay listings to see what the last one sold for, but they sell
yeah.
for stupid
Well,
amounts
because
of
they're out of
money.
production, and there were some famous people using it and sounds that people want. So you know how hype works, y'all. Yins know how hypes works.
Oh yeah, yeah. So and there's also there's the big cheese, and then there's the one I believe this came after was the cheese source, which is the bigger box version. So more options and stuff. So both of them very legendary. It's a fuzz circuit. Yeah, I think the cheese source was an overdrive and a fuzz, like two in one sort of deal. Anyway, so we're not going to talk about the specs of the pedal because that's less of what's important right now. What I want to talk about is that JHS just put out um, a very clear
Very clear.
clone of it, and right, and as we talked about with Brian before, there is nothing wrong with cloning a pedal. We've seen so many Tube Screamer, Blues Breaker, I mean, you name it, clones of in variations and varieties, and some. I own some. I own clones. Probably all
Mm,
own clones. This is just part of the nature of the beast. Is a lot of folks take it, they clone it, they make it their own. Now, the part where it starts to get a little muddy here is ripping off some. The aesthetics are much more protectable, and then on top of all of this, whether or not it's legal, I I can't imagine. I don't know if anything that's been done here is illegal. I think where it falls into is I just don't know if I feel comfortable with this, and maybe I'm just being a wuss here, and I'm maybe I'm just scared to step on people's toes, but I just don't know how comfortable I feel with Joshua Heath Scott doing that, um, because yeah. So there's that. But one of the so there's the fact that I don't feel comfortable with the fact for a couple of reasons. One, it ripped off um, the aesthetic entirely.
Does it?
It
Is it
was
that it's
I
the same
appreciate that it was
colors?
yeah, it's the same colors. They make it very clear what it is, and I get that there's a lot of green tube screamers, and maybe I'm just overreacting here, but it rubbed me the wrong way. But anyways, all of that to say, I could be totally off base on that part, and feel free to tell me if I'm off base on me feeling weird about it. Because I do get that it's kind of muddy waters with the whole cloning and what's legal. But one of the things that I've seen pop up as an argument is, well, Mr. Coggins hasn't been making any of these pedals in like 10,
Mhm.
20 years. So if it's out of production, it's fair game to take on someone
I
else's
mean,
work. And
yeah, I mean, I guess that's an argument that you can make.
it's an argument that's been made across the forums, and I feel like that's worth at least thinking about, and not necessarily like shutting down or not. I want to hold it with an open hand and say, how do I feel about that? And before I get too far into how I feel about that, I want to hear how you feel about all of this, since I just spilled all of my beans.
I can't really think of another like product um where someone would say, "Oh, well, they haven't sold them in 20 years, so you should just rip them off." Like I mean, I can't can you imagine that in other fields, I guess? But and that's kind of what I'm trying to think about. Like I think that if you're saying that like you took an idea and you improved upon it in some sort of meaningful way, like yeah, you can't buy like those old ass coffee machines anymore, but the ones that you can buy now have different features. Like I think it's kind of lame, honestly, and boring. I think it's kind of boring. Um I know a lot of people are excited about it. Sure, cool. Be excited. That's it's not really my thing. Oh god, I sound like such a dick.
I mean, I
I
fully
guess
admit
okay.
I've got a reaction that I can't fully explain that makes you feel weird, uh, just about this particular unit. And I think I'm just fully admitting that right up front, and I'm not sure where to take it from there, because the flips like I also see the other side of it where the argument could be made that because it's so difficult to get your hands on and whatnot, that making it more like this piece of history more accessible. Um,
But like you
I see
can't
that.
you I'm just thinking of things like fashion designs and just because it's hard to get the uh Prada bags. Gosh, what is that type of bag I'm looking for? Those Birkin bags. Just because you can't like get your own Birkin bag, like does it make it okay that someone's turning around saying, "Well, this is a clone of the Birkin bag?" Like that's I mean, you're not selling it and saying that it is a Birkin bag, but you're saying this is just like a Birkin bag, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't know. Some people are always going to make a different kind of bag that looks like a Birkin bag. it feels like a Birkin bag because not everybody can afford a Birkin bag, but,
Right, and for those of you who aren't familiar with
uh,
Birkin bags, that's a very expensive what, like, those go for what, like 20, 30 grand?
yes,
Some
absolutely.
um
Yes, they're absurd. But these are handmade by experts who are trained for decades, and a lot of them are, super limited, if not one of a kind. Some of them, like when you see world records for like a piece of uh, a woman's fashion, selling for a record amount of money, it's usually a Birkin bag.
right, and that's I mean, it's in the same realm of, like, a Rolex, um, and, like, fancy watches that has been typically, like, a dude thing, um
You can buy a Rolex in a store, you can't buy a Birkin bag in a store, and you can't buy a Love Pedal Big Cheese in a store
Right, right, I've only ever seen a
anymore.
and it's not Love Pedal, it's Love Tone. Love Pedal is a different company.
Love Tone.
I get
Oh,
that mixed up
god,
too.
that's why I was having trouble Googling. It's your fault.
Have I been saying Love Pedal mindlessly? Someone
Yeah.
man, maybe I am the worst host ever. Anyways, moving forward, uh, so I don't know. So I get that there's an argument to be made here than that. I think I don't know. I think there's a world in which this is maybe it. I think part of what's so strange about this to me is that I haven't seen Love Tone clones before, and whereas we've all seen Blues Breaker clones and Tube Screamer clones, this is just new territory. It feels like, oh my goodness,
Klon
right?
clones.
Clone clones.
It's probably more like a Klon clone, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I mean it's more of the same era because I mean that's Bill
But
Finnegan's
and
original circuit.
nobody bitches about Klon clones for some reason.
Right, right, and especially now that Bill's been making them again, and there's a lot of folks that haven't discontinued it. That's one of the other things that people say is like, "Oh, well, JHS discontinued their clones," and I think wasn't that because there? I feel like there was a lawsuit in there somewhere. I don't remember. Um,
No, well, it was I think from my understanding, it's Josh said that if real clones were ever made again, he'd discontinue it, and then he didn't right away.
gotcha. Well, I mean, and if that's the argument and you're going to stick to it, like, great on Josh for sticking to that. So what my point here is that I, I'm I'm I am processing this live on the air. And so maybe that's part of what bothered me so much is like, oh, like I haven't seen this before. This is strange. I don't know how I feel about that, where I've been desensitized to everything else. What I do think is interesting is there's a little bit of drama on the YouTubes where um,
Yeah.
Mr. Coggins, Coggins is the guy's name who made the engineered the original Big Cheese, put together a rather long, very upset comment on, I think it was Sweetwater's
Sweetwater.
YouTube channel that announced
Yeah.
the Big Cheese. And I reading through that, I thought that was really interesting, and I feel some of his frustration. I think part of what he said resonated with me, and that also is probably adding to some of my cognitive dissonance of like, "Whoa, this is different. How do I feel about this?" And
Yeah, because I guess you don't I mean, did that happen when clones started being a thing?
did what
'Cause
happen?
I f did did the person who makes them get upset about
Oh,
it?
Finnegan?
Yes.
Um, I don't know because people. I think JHS started doing clones back in 2005, and that was before my time.
God, you're so young.
In 2005, I was in the 5th grade, and I didn't play guitar. So that's just
In 2005, I was 16, you bet your ass I played guitar.
yeah, you did. So yeah, I mean, I kind of processed this live, but I some of what Mr. Coggins said I thought was really interesting, and I think what I would have loved is
Just so also, Andrew, JHS didn't start till 2007.
okay. So when did shoot? When did I forget when JHS did their
Probably around 2009-ish.
Yeah, I mean, since then there's been tons of clones, and even though it's still in production right now, is the KTR, and then about every month or so, um, Bill Finnegan puts on a full size one on eBay that usually goes for around 2K. And anyways, even with all of that, there's still tons of clones, and there's new clones
Doesn't
being.
he give that money to a nice old lady?
That's what I heard. I want to know more about that story, and I don't want to spread rumors, but I do want to hear. So, Mr. Finnegan, if you're listening to
Rumor
this, I
has
want
it.
to I want to hear more
There's a
about that.
Sir, sir, have you heard the rumors about you? They're lovely.
Yeah, I know. I mean that the way I've heard that rumors told makes him seem like a really incredible person. Um,
That's why it's funny because usually rumors are like, "Ah, what an asshole."
um, yeah. So I really do want to hear everybody's thoughts, and feel free to tell me that I'm a whiny baby and that I'm overreacting to this, which I'm totally fine with. I'm totally fine with being told that I'm wrong here. I I
Yeah,
I
I
just want to
mean,
have this
I think
conversation. Let's process this out loud.
well, can I say more? I know that we wanna wrap this up in the next couple of minutes, but,
Well, before, okay,
like, can I just say something,
okay, and then
man?
don't let me forget what I was just about to say. I'll come back to it.
Yeah, I felt like it was a conclusion type thing because
Sort
it was
of.
gunning up for that. But my thing is, it goes back to the like, well, is this legal for him to do this? Yeah, absolutely, totally. We're not
Right.
talking about we're not talking about what's legal, and we're not talking about what everybody else has done in other situations. We're talking about like even though it's legal to take someone else's design and then sell it like with your own like very like mild spin on it because let's be real like these clones like the goal is to be as
That's like the
close as
entire industry.
possible. Yes, that's the point. I know it's the entire industry. I get that. But when is it not cool to do that? Like, what are like, obviously, we don't think it's cool if someone who originally designed that circuit as an original circuit is still making them to then turn around and say, "I'm selling this person's version of the thing." I think we can all agree that's bad. Um, but like, when is so that's when it's not okay. I think that we're trying to determine is it ever okay to do that? Like does it ever not make you an asshole? Because like Love Pedal, yes, they haven't done anything in a
Love Tone.
while, but have Love Tone, gosh, yes, we're gonna keep doing that because Love Pedal exists now. um,
Who's the
but
worst
Love,
podcast host now?
yeah, uh, uh, God, you made me lose it. You made me lose it. You jackass. Um, but
Am I the asshole
But
now?
no, okay, okay. But unless a company has dissolved completely, been absorbed into another company, and like couldn't they turn around tomorrow and be like, actually, we wanted to start selling this thing again? Then would Josh do what he said he would do for the Klon? Yeah, I think that's fine. Like if you're in agreement that if you start doing this again, I'll stop because you have like the right of first refusal on it basically. So for me, I think the answer lives in that area somewhere, if that makes sense.
No, I think that does make sense. I think I think comically, like, there's the line, and have we crossed it? That's kind of where my brain jumps with that. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we. I know that I started off this episode coming off like really strong, and I said I wasn't going to come out the gates guns a blazing. I kind of did. Maybe I'll
Mhm.
regret that later. As I'm processing this through, I'm not sure where I'm at with that honestly, and it came off too strong, but I think I think some constructive criticism I could offer up in this realm is the fact that the original engineer left some upset comments. Leads me to believe, and I could be wrong. Maybe Josh Scott reached out to him, but it leads me to believe that he wasn't consulted on this. And I think, in the interest of further building this community and
And with JHS being a big entity in the community.
right, I would have loved to see Josh collaborate with Mr. Coggins on that, and
Mm.
I think there's a missed opportunity there. Not to say that he
Yeah,
should
that's
or should
true.
not have. I'm just saying what this is what I would have loved to see. I think I would have really appreciated the final product a lot more if there was involvement with that, if it was a collaboration, if stamp of approval, if he maybe got a little chunk of the change, if there's some sort of, hey, like a hey, you made one of the most legendary units that's ever
Mhm.
been like that's up there in like the top 5 list of most expensive like production
Yeah.
pedals. Like
And you coulda just paid him a consulting fee, and he probably would've like, that would I think that would make a person happy. That would make me happy to at least,
I
like,
and to what
feel valued.
well sure to what details I don't know. I
Yes.
mean, it's not
But, like, it yeah, but I think that just
the
yes, what you're saying
collaborative
is
aspect
yes,
of uh, paying your dues, and I get that Josh has become uh, a giant in the industry of at this point in the same way that folks who have gone before him like Mr. Coggins have. I like I said, like I feel like that was a missed opportunity, and I kind of hope that I saw that Mr. Coggins' comment got deleted. I hope that that's because Josh reached out and is trying to do something about this after the fact. I'd love to see more come of that. So Josh, if you're
yeah,
listening to this, like not upset. I'm just saying this is something that I, as a consumer and as someone who cares a lot about this industry, would have loved to see.
yes, I think that's fair.
I don't think that's too harmful. And yeah,
No, not too hard. Of course, it's not harmful. Criticism is
cons-
typically not.
constructive criticism.
Yes, constructive
Speaking of
criticism.
which, after the show, go to iTunes and tell me why I'm a bad host.
Yeah, he just wants to know.
I gotta know now.
Mhm. I think it's because you play devil's advocate,
Oh,
and you say it out loud when you do it.
classic white guy. Am I right?
S Yes. Alright, cool.
I think that's
Yeah.
all I've got on that topic. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think I mangled my words and sounded really mean when I said I thought it was boring. Uh,
Well, I
I
mean,
just I think it's not as exciting as, new things.
I
Yes.
think that is what it is, and if you're new to the show, this is the part where we say we just have opinions. We start with the facts. We give our opinions, and we want you to join our Facebook group or Instagram. Let's talk about this. Tell us why we're wrong or why we're right, or anything in
Yes.
between. We're not a fan of shouting people down. We're a fan of starting conversations like, "Hey, how do we feel about this? Just because it's
Mhm.
legal, does that okay? Like, where are we out in the spectrum of kind of sorting it through?" And the reason why we do that is because we care about this community so much, and we think there's a lot of potential that can be cultivated here. So,
Yes. Cool. Well, as always, thanks for listening. Thanks for understanding. Once again, I'm Emily.
I'm Andrew.
Goodbye.
Bye.